Good evening to all. I am Ravi Kumar, chemistry faculty. Today's our topic is chemical reactions and equations. Before going to start the chapter, we should know about what are physical changes and chemical changes. First, physical changes. Physical changes are the changes in which the physical properties of substances are changed, like state, color, structure, etc. etc. Examples: melting of ice, boiling of water, cutting of wood into pieces, breaking of glass into pieces. Next, chemical changes. Chemical changes are the changes in which, along with the physical properties of substances, chemical composition of substances also changed. Example: curdling of milk, rusting of iron, digestion of food substances, respiration, etc. etc. So, in all these daily life situations, some changes are happening in the substances. Initial substances are changed. Especially, we focused on chemical changes. Whenever a chemical change occurs, we can say that a chemical reaction has taken place. How do we come to know that a chemical reaction has taken place? That is our question. To answer this question, we go through some activities. First activity: take a magnesium ribbon and burn this magnesium ribbon under a free flame. So, what do you observe? Magnesium ribbon burns with white dazzling light. So it burns with white dazzling light and changes into white powder. The powder is nothing but magnesium oxide. The reaction taken place between magnesium and oxygen and forms magnesium oxide. So here the state of the substance was changed, right? That is first activity. Second activity: take lead nitrate solution in a test tube and add potassium iodide to it. What do you observe? The reaction taken place between lead nitrate solution and potassium iodide solution forms yellow color precipitate of lead iodide, and potassium nitrate also formed. So this is the second activity. Here color of substance was changed. Third activity: take few zinc granules in a conical flask and slowly add uh, dilute hydrochloric acid to it. What do you observe in this situation? Means, if you touch the test tube will become very hot. That means some temperature is evolved and a colorless gas is forming. Colorless gas bubbles are formed in the conical flask. That means whenever a metal, in general, you know already, metals when react with acids forms colorless hydrogen gas. That colorless gas bubbles are nothing but hydrogen. So finally we conclude that during a chemical change there is a change in state or change in color or evolution of gas or change in temperature takes place. So to represent these chemical reactions, in ancient days scientists uses sentences in sentence form. These chemical reactions are represented in sentence form. It is a very laborious process. So after as the science advanced, scientists introduced word equations to represent the chemical reactions. For example, in the first activity, you take first activity: magnesium reacts with oxygen, gives magnesium oxide. So on your screen, uh, it was given magnesium plus oxygen gives rise to magnesium oxide. In this way, we are representing chemical reactions. But nowadays instead of word equations, chemical formulae was taken and we represent chemical reactions in the form of chemical equations. So what is chemical equation? First we should know what is chemical equation. Chemical equation is nothing but the shorthand representation of a chemical reaction using chemical formulae. So here in chemical equation we should know about some terms. First one, what are reactants, what are products, what are reaction conditions, and how do we write a chemical equation? We should know it. First, what are reactants? The substances which undergo a chemical change are called reactants. They are written left side of the chemical equation and they are separated with plus sign. If the given reactant is two or more, they are separated with plus sign. Products. What are products? The substances which are formed during a chemical reaction are called products. They written right side of a chemical equation. They are also separated with plus sign. If two or more than two products are formed, they separated with the plus sign. Reactants and products are separated with the arrow mark. The arrowhead always towards product side. That means from reactants to products, it always shows the direction of products. So this is the basic information about chemical equation. So how to write a chemical equation means we just instead of writing words, we use chemical formulae. We know already chemical formulas of all elements. Okay, so chemical formulas of molecules and elements. So for example, magnesium reacts with oxygen, gives rise to magnesium oxide. So here magnesium formula is Mg, oxygen O2, and magnesium oxide formula is MgO. So in this way we have to write chemical equation. After this, how to balance the chemical equation? So there are two types of chemical equations. First one is balanced chemical equation. Second one is unbalanced chemical equation or skeletal equation. What is balanced chemical equation? So after writing chemical equation, we should check each and every element of a given element. Each and every element of a element in reactant side and the product side are same or not. We should count it. So that is the first point. Each and every type of element, each and every type of element given to you in reactant side and product side are same or not, we should count. If the reactant side and product side the given element is the given element number is same, that is a balanced chemical equation. Or it is not balanced, okay, the number is not equal, that is unbalanced chemical equation or skeletal equation. So now we are going to see how to balance the chemical equation. So here they given one example. Zinc when reacts with sulfuric acid gives rise to zinc sulfate and hydrogen. So first they written in word equation in the form of word equation. Later the above word equation may be represented as follows in the form of chemical equation. Zn plus H2SO4 gives rise to ZnSO4 plus H2. So while balancing the chemical equation, first identify what are the elements are present in the chemical equation. And we should know one important point. We do not change the chemical formula while balancing the chemical equation. That is the first and important point. We do not change the composition of chemical formula while balancing the chemical equation. And write down the number of atoms of each side, reactant side and product side. How many number of given atoms are present in the form of LHS and RHS. Write the number of atoms of each type, okay, in all chemical formulae. So here, if you observe this equation, zinc atoms are present, reactant side and product side. Hydrogen is present, sulfur is there, oxygen is present. So count the numbers. So left hand side, how many zinc atoms are there? 1. Right hand side, 1. Right. Hydrogens, left hand side 2, right hand side 2. Sulfur, left hand side 1, right hand side 1. Oxygen, left hand side 4, right hand side 4. So like this we count all the atoms given in the chemical equation. That is the first and important point. And one more important point is, while balancing the chemical equation, we should not alter the composition of a chemical formula. Okay, so that is next. You follow this equation. Fe plus H2O gives rise to Fe3O4 plus H2. We have to balance this equation. So stepwise, to balance the chemical equation, first draw boxes around each formula. Do not change anything inside the boxes while balancing the equation. What I was told previously, the same point he was given. That means we do not alter the composition of a chemical formula. Second, write LHS and RHS. Third step, choose the compound or select the compound in which the element which has maximum number of atoms. For example, here Fe, H2O, Fe3O4, H2. So among these, the compound is having Fe3O4. Okay, Fe3O4 compound is having maximum number of atoms. So start your balance with that compound. Okay, Fe3O4, in that Fe3O4, two types of atoms are there, Fe and oxygen. Iron and oxygen is present. Okay, so write reactant side how many iron atoms are there, and product side how many iron atoms are there. You just count, and in that how many oxygens and how many ions are there, you count. So 3 ions, 4 oxygen atoms. So first balance the oxygen atoms. So here 4 oxygen atoms are present in product side, only 1 oxygen atom is present in reactant side. So how to balance this means, choose a suitable coefficient to balance each and every atom present in the compound. Okay, so what is the suitable coefficient to balance the oxygen atoms? So in water molecule only 1 oxygen is present, so the suitable coefficient here is 4. So you multiply simply with the 4. So 4H2O. Okay, 1 into 4, 4. 4H2O. Okay, you can see on screen very clearly. So here they already given. So we should not we represent that coefficient before the formula. So 4H2O. Okay, so in box they will given the correct representation. We should not add any number to the formula like H2O4 or H2O whole bracket 4. Like this we do not do it. So the suitable coefficient should be add in front of the chemical compound. That is the main and important point. Next, while balancing the one atom, the other atoms present in the compound automatically will be unbalanced. So before, if you see the first second step or first step, so hydrogen atoms are balanced. So in reactant side 2 are there, product side 2 are there. Now you check the hydrogen atoms after balancing oxygens. Now you check hydrogens. So in reactant side, how many hydrogens are there? 4 2s are 8. In product side, only 2 hydrogens are there. So keep this point in your mind. While balancing one atom present in the compound, the other atoms are unbalanced. So you have to check it and you go through it accordingly. So now to equalize the number of hydrogen atoms make the number of molecules of hydrogen as 4 on the right hand side or product side. So 4 2s are 8. So like this we have to balance hydrogens also. Now oxygens are balanced, hydrogens are balanced. So what is left? Ions. So how many ions are present in reactant side? 1. Product side. So examine the above equation and pick up the third element which is not balanced. So what is not balanced? Ion only. So one ion is present in reactant side, 3 ions are present in product side. So what is the suitable coefficient? 3. Okay. So 3 is the suitable coefficient. So finally, to check the correctness of the balanced equation, we count all atoms of each element on both sides of the equation. And one more important point, during any chemical equation, no new atoms are formed. The same atoms are present in reactant side and product side too. Okay, so it is very easy to balance the atoms. Okay, right. Next, to make chemical equation more informative, some physical states we are introducing. Those are, if the given compound is a solid, we represent with small s. Okay, if the given substance is a liquid, we represent with small l. Okay, that is written in small bracket under the formula. That is that makes the chemical equation more informative, so more accuracy was there. Okay, and we also represent reaction conditions on the arrow mark. So if a delta symbol is present on the arrow mark, that represents heating is taken place. Okay, so we are supplying heat to the chemical equation. So if a given substance is solid, we represent with small s. If the given substance is liquid, we represent with L. If a given substance is gas, we represent with Z. Okay, and the word aqueous, aq, is written if the reactant or product is present as a solution in water. Okay, so if the reactant or product is present in solution, so we use aqueous. So all these symbols makes the reaction very informative. So in the previous equation, if you take a previous equation, 3Fe plus 4H2O gives rise to Fe3O4 plus 4H2. So here iron is a solid, so we represent S. Water is a gas, so we are taken vapor here. So Fe3O4 iron oxide is a solid, so hydrogen is a gas. So in this way we have to represent the chemical equations. One more example, so CO plus 2H2O gives rise to CH3OH. So here the reaction condition was given 340 atmosphere pressure. The reaction is going at a 340 atmosphere pressure. So the conditions are mentioned on the arrow mark. Okay, CO is a gas, H2 is a gas, CH3OH, methyl alcohol is a liquid. So next, 6CO2 plus 2H2O gives rise, 12H2O gives rise to C6H12O6 plus 6O2 plus 6H2O. This is already, this is photosynthesis reaction. So photosynthesis reaction takes place in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. So those are reaction conditions are represented on the arrow mark. Remaining all mentioned, those are mentioned under the formula. So in this way we have to mention the states. Next, one more important topic in this chapter is types of chemical reactions. So mainly we have four types of chemical reactions: combination reactions, decomposition reactions, displacement reactions, double displacement reactions. So I will go through briefly about these four chemical reactions. After that we will discuss in depth. First one, chemical combination reactions. When two or more reactants combine one with other gives only one product, such type of reactions are called combination reactions, chemical combination reactions. So remember, for example, general example, A plus B gives rise to C, that is, so in this form chemical combination reactions are present. Chemical decomposition reactions, the reactions in which one substance, one reactant molecule decomposes and forms two or more products. For example, C gives rise to A plus B. That is the general form of decomposition reaction. Third one, displacement reactions. The chemical reaction in which one element displaces another element present in the compound. So one element displaces another element present in their compound. For example, AB is a compound. It reacts with C. Okay, in general I am explaining. AB is a compound. It reacts with C. That C can displace either A or B in the compound AB. So what are the products? AC, uh, sorry, AC plus B. Those are the products. So that is displacement reaction. Double displacement reactions, the chemical reactions in which exchange of ions taken place, such type of reactions are called double displacement reactions. That means both the atoms in both compounds are exchanged. Both the atoms in both compounds. Okay, AB is a compound, CD is a compound. Okay, these two compounds react one with other, gives AD and BC. Those are the products. So in this way these reactions are we can explain these reactions. First one, combination reactions. So to understand this very effectively, we go through some activities. Take a small amount of calcium oxide or quicklime to a beaker. Slowly add water to it. Touch the beaker, and what do you observe? What was formed? You check it. So calcium oxide, when reacts with water, forms calcium hydroxide. So we call it as liquid lime, and enormous amount of heat also liberated. Okay, during this reaction, enormous amount of heat also liberated. We know already silicon lime is used to whitewashing of walls. Okay, it is used to whitewashing of walls. So here the calcium hydroxide present in uh, the calcium hydroxide reacts with the carbon dioxide present in the atmosphere and forms, see this, and forms a shiny finish layer onto the walls. Okay, so whenever this calcium hydroxide reacts with the carbon dioxide, the wall becomes very shiny because of formation of calcium carbonate layer. So after whitewashing, so the wall appears very shiny because of this reaction. Because of this reaction. So this is a chemical combination reaction. Here two reactants are involved, calcium oxide and water are reactants. So they are written left side of the arrow mark. So next calcium hydroxide, only one and only the product. So this is a chemical combination reaction. So few more examples. Burning of coal. When carbon reacts with oxygen, gives carbon dioxide. Formation of water from hydrogen and oxygen. So these are all other examples of chemical combination reaction. So here two more reactions I am going to explain to you: exothermic reactions and endothermic chemical reactions. The, the chemical reaction in which a large amount of heat is evolved, such reactions are called exothermic chemical reactions. Large amount of heat is liberated. Such reactions are called exothermic chemical reactions. Burning of natural gas or combustion of methane, we call it as combustion of methane. Methane, when reacts with oxygen, gives carbon dioxide and water along with enormous amount of heat. So this reaction is exothermic reaction. Under the previous reaction what we discussed, calcium oxide vigorously reacts with water, gives calcium hydroxide and heat. So that is also exothermic reaction. So our next respiration. Do you know that respiration is an exothermic process? Yes, respiration is a exothermic process. So we know already energy is needed to stay alive. This energy came from digestion of food substances. For example, um, rice, potato, or any other food substances like bread contains carbohydrates. These carbohydrates are broken down to form glucose. This glucose combines with oxygen inside the cell, okay, and forms energy and produces energy. So this reaction is called respiration. Along with this energy, so much amount of heat is liberated. That energy is liberated in the form of heat. Okay. So if you see the equation, C6H12O6 plus 6O2 gives rise to 6CO2 plus 6H2O plus energy. So this is another familiar example for exothermic reaction. The decomposition of vegetable matter into compost is also another example for exothermic reaction. So decomposition of vegetable matter into compost, respiration, formation of calcium hydroxide, and uh, combustion of methane. These are all examples for exothermic reactions. Endothermic reaction. Endothermic reaction means the chemical reaction which absorbs heat energy. Okay, which absorbs heat energy is called endothermic chemical reaction. So the general example for this is, if you pour some amount of alcohol into in your hand, so you will feel very cool. Okay, you feel very cool. This is because the heat present in your hand was absorbed by the alcohol. So that's why you feel very cool. That is a familiar example and a simple example for endothermic chemical reaction. So in exothermic chemical reaction, the conical flask or test tube feels, if you touch the conical flask or test tube, it is very hot. In endothermic chemical reactions, the conical flask or test tube is become very cool, right? Second one, decomposition reaction. We already discussed, one reactant molecule decomposes to form two or more products. So to explain this, we go through one activity. Take 2 grams of ferrous sulfate crystals in a boiling tube. Note the color of ferrous sulfate crystals. So ferrous sulfate crystals are generally green in color. Heat the boiling tube over a flame of burner. Okay, what do you observe?